Hello and welcome to Deep Sea. This is the channel for innovative cartomancy and astrology. I still haven't made videos about astrology, but I promise you that will happen too. And in the meantime, I've been busy making my own decks using AI, generative AI as it's called. You have platforms like Midjourney, Dall-e and so on. And I was interested. I always like to experiment with new things, and I thought, well, let's see if I can make some convincing decks using generative AI. And the inspiration that I chose is what you see here. This book is a good example. It's called Pulp, like Pulp Fiction, you know, the famous movie by Quentin Tarantino. It also references this type of illustration style. And basically what you're looking at, in my opinion, is a YouTube thumbnail but 60 years old. It's a picture intended to sell a book. And you see the eyes, you know, it's the typical YouTube look. And here's another one, not as convincing as the other one, but still you get a picture. I have a few more here. It's always bit sensational, lots of pretty women and lots of rude boys. You get the idea. So that was my inspiration, and I think I just want to show you some of the pictures that I came up with before I go on talking about it. I'm just going to show you now the 22 tarot, major arcana tarot images that I created. Okay, here we go. Look at the white borders and you will see that they change a little bit. Here it's on the other side. That's because these are actually the files that will be sent to the company that prints the cards. And the white line is part of the template that you can download for the bridge size cards. This is a bit mafia style, more mafia style, bit Godfather influence there. It's more French. I like this one. Very, very good composition. Again, a bit of a mafia trial. I like the lamps here. Wheel of Fortune. Look at the nipples. They're always a thing. Nipples is always a thing. This one is the most difficult card of all. AI doesn't understand people who hang upside down. It's very difficult. A mix of drinks, a cocktail as temperance. Big breasts, small waist, long neck. That's typical for AI. It's cute. Again, a very long neck. This one looks like the original Sun by Pixie. I like this one too. There's a bit of humor. And the world to finish it off. Before we go on, I should say that I also have another video out on my channel, which is about how you can make your own decks for cartomancy. And in that video, I explained the concept of a modular deck, which is something I did for these Pulp cards. I created several groups of cards. And that's what I call modular. You can give it any name you want, but there are several groups of cards in the deck that I created. And here's an overview of all the categories in the deck. There are 22 tarot major arcana cards, 38 in fact Lenormand cards, because I have 2 men and 2 women. There are 2 jokers, 12 zodiac signs and 9 planets. And well, I said I haven't made a video yet about astrology, but one of my favorite things in astrology is minor planets or asteroids. So I also made a whole lot of cards with minor planet themes, with dwarf planets, muses, centaurs, and other asteroids or minor planets. That might not be your thing, but I just explain it anyway. The thing with the modular decks is that you have several decks in one, and you can also play with the back of the cards. So, for example, I printed these cards twice, or at least I'm going to print them, I should say, because the prints are not in yet. But there will, for example, there will be one large deck with all the cards that I made, and then there will also be a separate deck with separate backs. Which is Tarot Major Arcana only, and one which is Lenormand only. So I get 3 decks in one, so to speak. And now I will just show you the Lenormand cards, the zodiac cards, and the planets. First Lenormand card, the Rider, Clover. Well, the words tell you what the cards are. If you're not familiar with Lenormand, check it out. It's really a nice system. If you say that the tarot is the book of life, you know, the story of your life, then Lenormand is more like the book of nature. Yeah, this is a nature image. You see a lot of nature images in Lenormand. Snakes always have these hairs on their nose in AI. Very, very irritating. Whiskers, you call them. Okay. A bit hippie. I like this one. Really like it. Birds. Birds is difficult. This kid is like a young mafia boss, you could say. Foxy lady. It's just a joke. It rhymes very good with the stork, the black and white. It gives really some extra black and whiteness here. This one goes very good with the panda bear to get a nice overall composition. Another nature image, as you can see. Tower. A bit science fiction. I love this one. It's really like a book cover. And excuse the large breast, but this, the AI is mistaking mountains for breasts. And this is because you cannot do rats and mice very easily. They are how do you say, censored. Ring is very difficult because you need hands and fingers. It's horrible. This is Michael Corleone with a Japanese face. He's looking to the left. We have one looking more to the left, one more looking to the right. This one also left. And here comes right. So that's just a Lenormand thing, so that you have 2 different types of men and women, one facing the left, one facing the right. I like that lily, by the way. There's an eye in the moon, if you look. Really nice. I like this one too. The anchor was very difficult. I had to push up the anchor all the way to get it. And the cross. Final Lenormand card. Now we get the next section. These are planets. So here's Miss Venus. Bit of a Aphrodite star. This one is actually a bit of a surfer. Jupiter. He has a surfboard in his hand. Mercury. I like this one. Bit of a Mad Men atmosphere. Audrey Hepburn. Neptune. Bit dreamy. Saturn, old bastard. The sun. And Uranus was difficult. Strange nipples, being hit by lightning is the idea. Okay, here's the zodiac signs. That's Aries, Taurus. This one's funny. Like French existentialists in a Coen Brothers movie. Typical Virgo. Libra, doing one thing and thinking the other, or something like that. Scorpius, power. Sagittarius, self-portrait, haha. Capricorn, nothing funny there. Aquarius. And the final one, Pisces. I wasn't sure about this one, but yeah, we'll go with it anyway. Well, as you can see, I've been busy and I've made a lot of cards, so you might think that I'm very enthusiastic about it. And well, in a way, there are pros and cons. I should put it like that. And let me start with the good things about generative AI, the stuff that I really like. And when you think about the cards, about cartomancy, and even about astrology, there is always this thing of keywords. The keywords that are associated with a certain tarot card, the keywords that are associated with a certain planet or with a certain zodiac sign. And what I really like about generative AI is you have these prompts where you put in words, and basically the words that you can use if you want to are the keywords that are associated with whatever zodiac sign, a tarot card, and you will get a result. Now that is, to me, the number one reason why I thought I should experiment with this. And I actually think that you have to get lucky, because sometimes the results are not what you hope they would be, but you can get lucky, and if that happens, you get these abstract keywords that you put in, and you get a nice visualization of a mix of keywords. And I think that's a unique thing. I think that's really the great strength of using AI specifically for tarot images. And this is also exactly what I did the first time I started using it. I just typed in these keywords that everyone can find in a cookbook, and it worked up to a certain point. But there's more to it. For example, if you want to do a whole deck, it is, in my mind, it's very important that you have a kind of a stylistic continuity, and you cannot just design, let's say, an empress in this kind of style, and then an emperor in a completely different type of style. So that's something I had to learn, that you really have to have some stylistic continuity. And that's also the reason why in the end I ended up with this type of images. I mean, if you look at the disadvantages of AI, there are quite a few disadvantages, but one that is very noticeable is that the bodies are strange. If you look, for example, at female bodies, they are maybe desirable in some sense, but also weird. They have very long necks, they have very large breasts, they have very thin waists, and men have very huge torso, and then there's the stuff with the censorship, nipples are always funny, and so on and so forth. And now if you look at this image, for example, you also see unrealistically long legs and just strange proportions, let me put it like that. So I figured that why not use the Pulp style, because in a way there is quite a lot of synergy between the exaggerated bodies of the Pulp Fiction style and the exaggerated bodies of the AI style, but it's not necessarily something that I like. The only thing I really like is the ability to have these abstract concepts and mix them. And the other thing I really like is that technically the color palettes that AI comes up with are really, really good. I mean, ridiculously good colors, and also ridiculously good composition, which is something that really amazed me. But there's some sense to it, because these AIs, these bots, they are trained on huge numbers of images, and also images of the professional image creators, the humans, like great artists, but also great illustrators and just professionals. And it seems to me that when it comes to the composition of an image, the lines that it's hard to put in words, because we don't have good vocabulary for composition, but somehow the machine completely understands what a good composition is, and it seems to be the baseline of a composition is just exactly what you want. It never fails. That's something that really amazed me. But on the other hand, there are quite a few cons, things that I don't like also, for example, the censorship. I think certain keywords that you cannot use that are censored are completely ridiculous to me, but anyway, these people, I guess they have to do what they have to do there. But also you have, of course, the not so politically correct imagery. It's very American is the baseline. That's also one of the reasons why I chose this theme. And well, there's more that I don't like, especially in the end. I mean, I did a lot of research at a certain point, and when I found out how these companies actually source their material and how they handle the subject of copyrights, quite frankly, I was disgusted, because you see the same toxic mix of people who are only in it for the money, and people, I mean, the developers. I think I have this image with these developers as, nerds who don't really care about the influence that their new technology has on society. And there's a big debate now among artists about boycotting AI, and I have to say I'm sympathetic to that movement. And I even decided that after this tryout, because for me it was the first time I tried AI, I said, okay, I've made a nice deck, but I don't want to keep sponsoring these companies, because Midjourney, I pay, I think, $30 per month. So I paid that for 2 months, but that's enough for me. I don't want to sponsor this company until they start to handle the copyrights of artists in a right way. To be honest, I think they will never get there, but well, that's how I think about it. Like I said, it is important for, if you make a deck of cards, tarot cards or Lenormand cards or whatever type of deck, it is important that it becomes a kind of a unity. That the cards, if you have a spread, like 3 cards, 10 cards, doesn't matter how much, the spread should be easy on the eyes, it should be easy to read, and it should be, one thing that you can use for that is to create a stylistic unity. And of course, creating a stylistic unity in AI is really quite simple, in fact, because it is all in the prompt. And I want to explain to you now what prompt I used for creating all these cards that I've shown you. And then after I've explained that, I will show you even more cards, the ones that probably don't really ring a bell for you, because they are on the theme of, well, they are on universal themes in a way, but they are really from asteroid astrology or minor planet astrology, which is also mythological themes a lot of the time, but still you might not be familiar with them. But let me just show you now how my prompt in Midjourney was made, and this will not work for Dall-e. But if you use Midjourney, you can try this if you want to. Now, the first thing you'll notice is that I split the prompt in a lot of different parts. And I mean, you have, like, for example, the first one, 60s Pulp Fiction painting, then you see the double colons, and then you see a number 5. And this 5 is the weight, the relative weight that you get for these keywords. You see with collage, you see 10. And you also see a -10 there with toe, feet, hand, and finger, which means that it is a negative weight. So that is stuff that will be suppressed. And then finally, you see the thing with the 2 lines in front of it, AR, that is aspect ratio. But let me start with the first one. It's 60s Pulp Fiction painting. Well, that's just what it says on the can. It is. I've shown you these books, these examples, and I can show you some more examples actually. Now I will do that in a moment. First, sketch. Swift, fast brush strokes. That says something about the style. For example, the thing here that you're looking at here, put it a bit closer. You see in the background, you see these fast moving brush strokes. That's what I try to get with this prompt, and sometimes it works. And that's actually a funny thing, because let me make a little side thought here. Whenever if you've looked at all these pictures that I've created, some of them really have a bit of this style that you see here, but not all of them. And this has to do with, let's call it, the comfort zone of this prompt that I've created. If you have a topic that is in the comfort zone of your prompt, so to speak, then you will get these swift brush strokes. But if you have a topic that is not in the comfort zone of this prompt, you will get a very different style. So actually, although I used this prompt that I just showed you, although I use that prompt all of the time, you still get a huge variety in style. And that has to do not with the stylistic part of the prompt, but with the keyword part of the prompt. So actually what this means is that as soon as you see these swift brush strokes, that means that let's say the form and the content really have a synergetic relation, that you really hit the bullseye, so to speak. But for other topics, you might get a much more realistic style. For example, it's usually more realistic, and well, that just shows that you're pushing the limits of what a certain prompt can do. And yeah, well, for example, 60s Pulp Fiction painting, that is associated with certain types of women, but for example, because of the political correctness and so on, if you try to put in black people, that will be much harder. And sometimes it works, but not in combination with certain keywords, not in combination with the keyword honesty, for example, which is very politically incorrect. So that's just an example of how this stuff works. Watercolor and gouache. That's just a technique. Actually, what you see here is not all watercolor and gouache. There's also this particular illustration here, or painting, I should say, was made by Robert E. McGinnis, who used a lot of tempera or tempura. I don't know how you say that exactly. Here's more of it. It's not a great artist in well, I sound like a snob now. Not an artist who will be in the Guggenheim, but he is a very, very, very good illustrator. And Yeah, the book is a bit big, but a lot of respect for Robert E. McGinnis. I mean, in this style, he's my favorite illustrator, I would say. This one is also by him, and that he's also in the prompt together with Robert Bonfils and Paul Rader. And now you can say, well, that's hypocritical because I was just ranting about copyrights and so on. But well, I put 3 names there, and if I'm quite sure that if Mr. Robert McGinnis would look at the pictures that I made, there could be one. Actually, there's one picture that is the High Priestess in the tarot. That really, when I saw that picture, I thought, yes, here is some Robert McGinnis at work. But that was in one of 180 cards that I made total. So it's 1 in 180. That's not much, but so I use these 3 names of these 3 artists, and can you say that I copied their style? A little bit, but just a little bit. What you get much more is an average style that reflects 60s Pulp Fiction. And I have not seen one Robert Bonfils, I have not seen one Paul Rader, but I did see one Robert McGinnis. So that's. But I bought his book, so I don't feel too guilty about it. Collage, that is interesting as well. That is actually a parameter that you can use if you want to have multiple things going on in one image, like you really see with these movie posters quite often, where you have 4 or 5 storylines coming together in one picture. That's typically a thing that you can control by pushing the collage parameter up or down. So if you make collage 0, you will get 1 picture, and if you make collage 50, for example, you get all kinds of different images in one. And these values is actually what I used, because you say I use 5, 10, minus 10, but when it comes to the keywords, actually, I sometimes went as high as 50. So for example, let me give you one very good example, is the anchor in the Lenormand cards. That is almost impossible to get the AI to do an anchor. So then you really have to push the keyword anchor up to 50. That's the best example I can think of. But sometimes I also mix different keywords and give them different weights. So you can compose. I wouldn't say compose, but you can fine-tune the content. Let's put it like that. The negative value, minus 10 for toe, foot, hand, and finger. Well, I think that's common knowledge by now. The hands of AI are horrible. I mean, that's one of the disadvantages of AI is when you get into the details, sometimes you really get scared of the awful results that you get. My tip, if you really want to scare someone, try creating a jazz band with AI. It will amaze you. But hands are also awful, and actually hands I can understand. Because I mean, okay, I'm in the Netherlands, and in the Netherlands, everybody knows who Rembrandt is, right? You probably also know who Rembrandt is. He was a famous painter in the 17th century. And in those days, if you were a very wealthy, trader, how do you call it? Koopman, they say in Dutch. Very famous businessman, let's put it like that. Then you would go to Rembrandt and you would say, hey, Mr. Rembrandt, can you paint my portrait, please? And Rembrandt would say, yeah, that's okay. And one of the first questions he would ask would be, with hands or without hands? Because that would be quite a difference for the price, because hands are difficult to paint. So in that sense, you know, this businessman could say, I want no hands, no fingers, and that's exactly what I also did in the prompt. I said -10. I want no hands, no fingers. So that kind of makes sense. Then the final thing there in the style prompt is aspect ratio 2:3, and that is one of the few aspect ratios that the Midjourney AI can handle, and it's actually this. So this is 2 and this is 3, and if you would have this, it would be the other way around. It would be aspect ratio 3:2. So what you call portrait and landscape is what you get there. And now you might think, well, how does that translate to the size of cards? Well, that's the good news, really, because well, you have different sizes. You have, for example, the tarot size. It's not really standard, but it's a big size. And then you have the really common sizes, the standardized sizes, which in Europe you have commonly a bridge size, and in the United States, and I don't know where else, you have the poker size. But this 2:3, you know, give or take a few millimeters, and you have exactly the bridge size, which is great, because well, I go to makeplayingcards.com for printing, and you just choose the bridge template, and you're ready to go. So that's perfect. I think that's the most. I think I've said enough about prompts here. I think I'll show you the rest of the stuff that I made, and I hope you like it. Enjoy. The famous scarab beetle, symbol of synchronicity. It's a joker. And another joker, that's Camellia Elias, the #1 cartomancer in the world, maybe, I think. Urania is a muse. There are 9 Greek muses. They inspire artists. Leo is the muse of history. Erato is the most sensuous muse. And Euterpe, I don't know how you pronounce that. She's more like a songwriter muse. Calliope is more of epic size art, like very long movies. Melpomene is the blues muse, the sad, what do you say? Tragedy. Polyhymnia is religious music, and she's about wild dance. Dall-e is the muse of comedy. Yes simply means yes. There's actually a minor planet called Yes, believe it or not. This one is about healing. This one is about people who are sensitive to seeing ghosts and stuff like that. Alu is the one who ruins your day, really nasty minor planet. Animu is about animus and anima, Jungian, transgenderish image there. Anteros is love that is not returned. Aphrodite as Marilyn Monroe, very good Marilyn Monroe there. Arachne is about webs, also spiders, but also information webs like the internet. Ate is dangerous, like a bad bitch. Bellona is the female form of Mars. Boole is about very logical black and white thinking, either or, Aristotelian logic. Brontosaurus doesn't care about anybody, just goes its own way. It's about growth. Very weird nipples here, Cupid. Great example of weird nipples. This is terrible. If you want to do a sword hanging above someone, you will really confuse the AI. You will not get the brush strokes like this one, Delilah, or this one, Defiance, who is a pain in the ass. Dionysus, very much about resetting, you know, having a party, but also resetting. This one speaks for itself. Eros. Etna is sudden eruptions, also emotionally. This one is about a fragile sense of happiness. This one is more about spring, things starting to bloom. gold, very weird long neck here again, nice gold color in the eyes, and more weird eyes, but this one, Harmonia, is about strange types of harmony. Hinderere stuff gets in your way. This is overconfidence. Hypatia, famous ancient philosopher and mathematician. The guy who flew too close to the sun and fell down. Juno, marriage, jealousy, money, stuff like that. The wife of Zeus. Karma is a very interesting little minor planet. Cassandra is about the woman with the gift of prophecy and the curse that no one believes her predictions. This one is just light-hearted. Los is about loosening yourself from a group. Lone wolf. Struggle for power. Blind lust for power. Fiddling with information, spin doctors. Spirituality, a bit controversial. Just melancholia, nothing else. This one is more about worries, fears. Salesman, trading, selling ideas. Métis is getting good advice from a consigliere in mafia words. It's just modesty. Narcissus. Narcissist. Nike is about victory or what you want to win. Nice gold colored body there. Nocturna is gothic people, but also dark night of the soul. Orpheus, great musician. Also the myth of Orpheus and Eurydice there. Orthos is very much 007 spies. Pallas, famous Greek goddess of Athens. Pandora with her box. Persephone being escorted to the underworld at the end of summer. Discipline, hard work, pushing. Moving at breakneck speed, dangers of going fast. The famous fried chicken, alchemical style a little bit. This is everything that has to do with image making. Very much the topic of this video. Pyrrhus, winning at a great cost, setting the place on fire. Pythia, the oracle of Delphi, the priestess there. Rise means simply rising up. Filthy rich, or at least having a lot of money. Or is it just about money? It can be about money. Siberia is about cold and lonely. This is the smooth operator, as the Dutch astrologer Benjamin Adema called it. This is Sisyphus, a bit of a joke. Socrates, going against the grain, corrupting the youth. Tantalus was very hard to get, tantalizing process to create that image. Toro is, well, rough energy. Heavy weather, Typhon, also fighting yourself in, again according to Benjamin Adema, the Dutch specialist in the field of minor planets. Unruhe is a German word, it means unrest. Unsold is being critical, you know, not being convinced. This one is about truth, the opposite of fake. Vesta, famous goddess, protector of the home fire. Xanthus means blonde in Greek, and also not the most clever type of blonde. Varuna is it's in the wrong place. Chariclo is a centaur. Chiron is also a famous centaur. I think most people know it. This is also a centaur. It's a 60s version of Paris Hilton. It's about people who are famous for no reason. And Nessus is about invasion, basically, alien invasion. Aureus is about group feeling. Pholus is, difficult to explain. Pilanor is sex, drugs, rock and roll, booze, addiction, a lot of bad things. Ceres, this is the dwarf planets we have now. Chaos, start of the universe, very primordial. Eris, very bad bitch. These are all dwarf planets. Haumea is more like a Mother Earth goddess. Makemake, the dangers of technology. Orcus Font is about getting real. This is not so good Clint Eastwood, at least not as good as Marilyn Monroe. And Pluto. Kuawar is about networks, communication. Setna, very important one, very important, don't overlook it. Goddess of the Inuit or Eskimos, very tough one. Beware if you have this one in your chart. Okay, that was it. Maybe you noticed the difference in images that had these swift brush strokes and the images that didn't have it. And well, that says a lot about how the AI handles the style prompt and how it connects the content of the image with the style. Okay, that's it for this video. I enjoyed creating cards with Midjourney, but I also have to say the more I got into the subject, the more difficult it got. And well, I have mixed feelings, you know, and you could say that I didn't play it completely politically correct, you know. I've copied some styles by other illustrators. I've used that in a way, and I've been talking about how I don't like how Midjourney uses or how Midjourney, the company Midjourney, handles copyrights, because they are very sloppy about that. It's difficult, and like I said before, I liked doing this. I like to experiment with new technology to see what is possible, but the ethical side of it is difficult for me. I also want to make clear that I don't use this for any commercial purposes or something. So in the end I feel okay about what I did, but I don't feel okay about the influence that companies like OpenAI and so forth, that they will have on our society. I mean, let me finish with that then. I mean, Facebook, Google, YouTube. I mean, YouTube is responsible for people looking like that, you know, and Facebook is responsible for really creating a horrible atmosphere all over the planet with people, you know, getting aggressive, I don't know the right word, but there is this creation of aggression and so on only for making money, you know, and it is it's disgusting, frankly. It's the big tech companies they have way too much power in that sense, and AI companies are just as bad as Facebook, just as bad as Google and the rest of them. So that's I don't like that, and I enjoyed my experiment, but this is it for me. This is enough. So on the next video, maybe I'll do one or two more about cartomancy, but then I will start doing some videos about astrology. Definitely minor planet astrology, asteroid astrology, and also scientific astrology, which is something I've been working on quite hard in the last months. I've been working with a partner on a project that is, well, I cannot say too much about it because the paper is not written yet, but it might surprise you. Let's put it like that. So in the coming months I will be moving more toward astrology, and I hope you will enjoy that too. And for now, let me finish with one thought. I've put some links to this ethics debate in the description, so if you want to know more about that, check it out. Okay, till the next time. Bye bye.